Here's the brutal truth. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you've been getting. And frankly, for most businesses in the UK, that's nowhere. Less than 1% of businesses ever break through the £10 million barrier, and only 9% break through £1 million. I used to be broke, stuck, frustrated, and struggle every single day in business until I quit these 7 things that we're going to cover now in this video. These changes didn't just change my life, they literally saved it. And these 7 things, if you want to start winning and you want to start winning big, stick around, because this could be the most important 10 minutes of your life. Number 1, if you want to be more successful in business and you want to get bigger, better results, you want to be one of those £1 million companies or £10 million companies, you got to stop listening to people that are less successful than you. This is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. Yes, your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister, your nan, they love you. But if they've not run a £10 million business or a £1 million business, they can't advise you. And this happens all the time with business owners. They go and they're talking to people that don't understand the right moves to do, or even worse, they're hiring people, then asking the people that they're hiring for advice. If you do this, you end up stuck. You've got to be a leader, you've got to look upwards, and you've got to find people that are playing at a higher level than you, rather than listening to people that are less successful than you. And that is rule number 1. Rule number 2, if you want to win and you want to win big, then there's got to be some sacrifice. If you are currently going out partying all the time, you're going out drinking, that kills the brain cells. Stop partying, stop drinking, and actually stop social situations that don't empower you. Let's dive into that a little bit. If you're going out with your friends around a pub and all you're doing is you're sitting there and you're talking about the football and all these kind of things, then that is not going to empower you to start building businesses. Get yourself into circles and environments where people are talking about winning. They're talking about business. They're talking about making money. And that's one of the big mistakes that I made in the beginning. I used to feel obligated to go out on a Saturday or a Sunday and hang out with people that didn't want to win, just because I've grown up with them and they're great people. But the bottom line is, if you want to get great results, you've got to be around great people. So stop going out in those social circles that are not lifting you up. You can still remain friends, but you don't have to hang out with 8 hours with people that are not empowering you. The second thing is just make sure that that drinking, it stops. It does nothing good for you. It takes you off your game. So get rid of that. Stop the partying and start stepping into your success. Rule number 3, stop comparing, start submitting. Which is like, what do you mean by that, Adam? Well, the first thing that happens is a lot of the time you can see someone that's more successful than you, and it's human emotion and human nature that can create some jealousy, that can create some envy. And you can start to look at that person, you can start to think, well, they only got this because of that, and they only did this, and I didn't get that opportunity. And you can really start to create some bad language that doesn't help you to get better results. So instead of looking at someone saying, why have they got this and I haven't, stop comparing with them, realize that they're a bit further along the journey, and actually submit to being the student. This has been something that's really, really empowered me across my journey. When I'm around people that are more successful, I literally remember that I have 2 ears, I have 1 mouth, I listen. I ask good questions, I'm curious, and I try to find out why is it that they've been able to do this stuff. Rather than being envious or jealous, I actually start to admire what they've done, and I submit myself to being the student in that environment. In fact, I think that you should walk through life as a student in every type of place that you can be. Learn from other people, whether they're really successful, learn from people if they're really skillful. They don't have to be super skillful, but they're better at something that you want to get great at. Start listening to them, because if you're the student, you can learn a lot more, and it changes the frame of reference, which allows you to get much, much faster results. So stop comparing, start submitting. Number 4, saying you're going to do it later, saying I'll do that someday. Someday leads to nowhere. That day is not going to come. If you want to do it now. When's the best time to plant a tree? You've heard this before, 20 years ago. When's the second best time? It's right now. So when would now be a good time to start living your dreams? You've got to take the action. And this is one thing that I've learned on my journey, which I share with you. The moment you have a thought, the faster you take the action on the thought, the more likely you are to hold it in your hand. So start turning thoughts into income with fast execution and speed of implementation. Number 5, quit short-term thinking. This is something I've trained thousands and thousands of business owners over the years, helping them to build businesses from, startup businesses, helping them start easier, growing businesses to help them grow faster and scale safer, and literally we have created tens and tens of millions of pounds in the marketplace. One thing that I've noticed with so many entrepreneurs is they have this like magic wand issue. They want one thing that they wave over their business that changes everything. And it would be beautiful if business got done like that. But it just doesn't work like that. How it works instead is you build a strategy and you stay committed to the strategy and you put the hard work and the execution in. You remain strategic and you keep moving towards your goals. What you can accomplish in a business over a year, over 2 years, over 3 years can be beyond your wildest dreams, but you ain't going to make £1 million in a month. So you've got to have that patience and you've got to be in it for the long game. My first business, which I grew to £40 million in sales, took me a decade. My events training business, I started in 2016. So I stayed committed to these particular businesses and drove the result home. And my mentality is continuous improvement. Stop thinking you're going to achieve miracles in a week, a month, even a year. Get committed, stay on the plan, and you in turn will end up being the victor. So there's 2 more really important lessons left. And for me, I've saved the best 2 till last. I really have, because these are, having trained thousands of business owners, as I've mentioned, 2 things which I think are absolutely massive when it comes to your success. And number 6 is when you have somebody that thinks they know something because they've heard it once before. Let's explore this a little bit, this concept, because it's super important. And if I say to you, you've got to hang out with successful people, and you go, yeah, I watched that on a YouTube video, I watched that on 10 YouTube videos, I read that in a book, but you still ain't hanging out with successful people, just because you heard it, don't mean you know it. And I think this happens all the time. People read a book, they think they know the contents of the book, but they haven't lived it. So you've got to start living it. Stop saying, I know this, I've heard this, I've done this, because the reality is most people haven't. Unless you have created millions of pounds doing a certain topic again and again and again and again and again, you ain't a business expert. So stop saying you are one, stop pretending to be one. Instead, submit again to being that student. That's the best way to be. And there'll be some people that want to come and put in the comments, who you'd say this, but look, I built multiple 8-figure businesses. So I've walked the walk. You can look it up. I've been there, I've done it. It doesn't make me special. It just means I'm somewhere further along the journey. And when somebody's further along the journey, just say to them, how do you do it? Pick up these 7 things, put them into your life, and you're going to start seeing big results. So let's get to number 7. Now, number 7 is focus on skills over money. Most people don't ever make loads of money because all they ever focus on is their money. When you get green in your eyes and all you're doing is you're focusing on money all the time, money, 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 I need money, 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 money. And people are like this. The problem is they're not creating value and they're not creating skill because they're too focused on money. If you get zoned in and you focus on how can I become amazing? How can I maybe become better at this? And you focus on high income generating skills like marketing, like sales, like speaking, and these things, and you get really zoned in on them, then all of a sudden you're going to find that money doesn't become a problem when you become the person of value. Those are my 7 things that you need to stop doing to start stepping into your success. Apply those in your life and they can be the difference that starts to make the difference for you. And look, if you need a bit of help, you're a business owner that wants to go all the way to the top and you're ready to be that student, to get the right guidance, to get the right advice, go over to the description, check out our mastermind program, Gold Circle. That's where we train business owners just like you to go all the way to the top. I'm sure it can really help you. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe because we've got cool videos like this coming out every single week. Thanks again for watching. And if you watched all the way to the end, go and comment A player. I love to see who my A player communities are. Those of you that are taking action, following all the way through. So go and comment an A player for me so I can see you and I'll be sure to respond personally. And I look forward to seeing you in person very soon.